Renars podcast.
They're introducing my next guest on Renars podcast. Here we have Adomas. What's up, my man?
Yeah, good, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you traveled an hour from where now?
From Orpington.
Orpington. What was going on in Orpington? By the way, now it's just Easter was just finished and stuff. And how was the Orpington Easter for you?
It was family time. It was good family time, yeah. With
Okay.
My sister, my wife, my two daughters, my niece, my sister's boyfriend, yeah. So
Wow, full house.
Full house, yeah.
Full house.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much for coming over. We met not a long time ago. We met on a set.
Yep.
And I remember someone said to you that guy's Latvian.
No, you said like that guy's Lithuanian.
Oh, because he wanted to make fun of it. Because like
Probably.
people keep pulling my leg there, just like, oh, so you're from Lithuania? It's like, yeah, it's Latvian. No, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
That's what people keep saying. Okay, so just your microphone, so you can see me. Like put like this microphone in front of you, like this. You see that? There you go, much better. Otherwise, you have to do this all the time.
Okay.
Just relax. We're gonna have a good time. Okay, so when someone can find you on Instagram, they're gonna see things like Buddhist, martial artist, qualified osteopath, performer, and warrior. I think I want to go straight away probably to the martial artist.
Okay.
And the martial art, what you're representing, you say that out loud, please. So
It's
otherwise,
a traditional Vietnamese martial art called Nhat-Nam.
Nhat-Nam.
Yeah.
And when I was looking up some of the videos online, I realized it's not that popular. I never heard of it. I've done martial arts all my life. I never heard of it, and when I looked it up, there's not many videos, anyways, and it's quite new. Go from very beginning. How did you get into it, and how long you've been representing it? And I'm guessing you're teaching it as well now.
I'm on break, but I'm about to come back.
Oh, okay, but you've been teaching.
Yeah, I've been teaching for 10 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you've been really exposed to it a while ago then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how I started is a very simple story. Just I grew up in Lithuania, in Vilnius, in capital of Lithuania, and in my area there wasn't many activities that you can do. You know, it's not like here in London. You know, you have every youth club or where you can do whatever you want. So, and one day after the school, I just saw my future martial art teacher practicing, and I was like, wow, it's cool. It looks cool, And my dad came to pick me up from the school, and I said, Dad, listen, there's that man over there. He's doing some crazy stuff, I would like to learn something like this, And my dad, I'm really lucky with my parents, because my dad, he is practicing still yoga, and he was practicing yoga since I was, since as long as I remember myself, And he was teaching me the different yoga asanas when I was a kid, and he was like, okay, let's go, let's talk to that man. And he talked to the trainer, to my future coach. His name is Petras Golovac. And
which is a Lithuanian name, Petras.
Yeah, Petras, or Piotr, it would be in Russian. Yeah.
So is he Russian or he's Lithuanian?
He's Russian.
Oh, okay.
He's Russian, yeah. And my dad spoke with him, and he's like, okay, you're gonna train. And that's it. That's how it was, So
how old were you then?
7.
And now you are
32.
32. So my math, 20-something years?
25 years.
25 years. Wow. Okay, and I'm surprised that you said there's not much going on in Vilnius. Vilnius is the capital of Lithuania.
Yeah, but we're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah, but martial arts like karate I'm pretty sure they were represented.
There were a lot, but in my area there was like one kickboxing club, one boxing club, but I don't know, just probably because of my nature, I wasn't very into those very intense martial arts,
Right.
I was very, how to say,
out there.
Yeah, I was, how to say, soft child,
Oh, okay.
I was a very soft child.
Some things haven't changed, have they? No. No, what are you talking about? Look at you, you're so rough and tough and all that. Okay, and that's how it started. Well, I'm gonna play a couple. There's a video online, and I'm gonna put it on that wall right now as well.
They had a lot of martial arts, and most of those martial arts, they were like small, like family styles, you know.
Yeah. Because they did start with the families. It's almost like how you come up with different styles. I think Kung Fu was similar.
Similar story. So, and I don't remember when, but I think it was the 20th century, 19 something, when the Viet Vo Dao came. You know, the another Vietnamese martial art came. But what Viet Vo Dao did, actually, they took a lot of those family styles and then just merged them, just merged them together.
Yeah.
And the professor, the how to say, the main head of this martial art, he said, I'm not going to merge into Viet Vo Dao because I see this style as strong enough to sustain itself as a separate martial art. And that's why he didn't mention to Viet Vo Dao, and he started spreading his school with Nhat-Nam, you know.
Yeah. Sorry. So now I finally figured out how to film it, and so now I'm recording on my thing.
Okay.
And so now, who is this guy?
What you see now, he's Professor Ngo Son Bin, so he's the head of this martial art.
He's the head of this martial art.
He's the head of this martial art. Yes. So he's like. Yeah. This in this video you can see me with my friend Andres.
And these videos are from where now, for example?
Mainly Russia, some of them Vietnam, some of them there was few episodes from here, from UK. This is Russia, this Moscow.
And then they're like Vietnam. So the first kind of European country was, Russia's not really European country, it's Eurasia. But it started with Russia. So
started with Russia, then it went... I think Belarus, Ukraine, and Lithuania was pretty much at the same time. Yeah, pretty much at the same time.
Why Lithuania? Why not none of the other Baltic countries?
To be honest, I don't really know those details how it went. But there was a student of the professor, his secretary, professor secretary, another master, Chamfuki, who traveled around the Europe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why he came to Lithuania and how did he choose the Lithuania, but he came to Lithuania, and that's where he met my master, my teacher, Petras Golovach. And the idea is that my teacher, before start teaching Nhat-Nam, he was practicing martial arts years before. He was practicing wushu, karate, I think judo as well, and different other.
And then he found that this martial art is something what he wants to do.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very interesting. Like, well, just from watching this, let's see some of the moves in this video, and then if I want to, you can comment on some.
This one, for example, what you see now, it's like a breathing recovery, like well-being techniques. You know.
No, here you are. Look at you.
Yeah.
All young and sexy.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Age, you know. Yeah.
So who have muscles, they take their tops off.
Yeah.
Why girls are keeping their tops on? That's always just so unfair.
So this is one of our sport camps.
There you go. That's the one.
Which are designed for a specific purpose. This is a breathing quen, where the student is using a special.
Is this like a foreplay before you consummate with your wife?
It's how to find the wife.
Just joking. Oh my god! There's like 30 of you guys just setting up somewhere outside and just doing this. There you go.
So the idea, so you heard the word quen. Quen is like a sequence of movements, and we had like different, like in karate.
In karate they call katas. In kung fu they would call forms.
Yes.
And wushu as well.
Yeah. So quen is like a combination of movements, and you can have in Nhat-Nam we have like breathing quens where you do the breathing. You saw the one that we just saw. It was a tiger breathing. Yeah. So it's rough, or let's say yan. Like active energy.
That's gonna be my ringtone.
This is a breathing quen, where the student.
And you can hear the breathing is a specific like tiger.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Well, when I did karate, like we did the same thing. We had breathing katas and we had like the katas.
Yeah. So breathing, then you have style quens of style, so tiger style, snake, and different.
Here you go. That's the different. This one. What is
Been
this one?
crystallized.
That's a tiger.
Various forms have developed, such as tiger, snake, fist or hammer, dao or hand sword.
But it's
Each
quite
style
similar, like in Kung Fu and Wushu. They have also tiger. They also have monkey. Do you have a drunken one?
We have, but I've never learned.
Oh, damn it.
You've
been sober for years.
Tactics of attack and defense. For example, tiger style is based on grabbing and ripping movements.
There's a lot of movements with the wrist.
Yeah,
that
so
is something.
difference. For example, tiger style. One of the main, characteristic is movement with the wrist. Another, for example, and snake as well. But if you have like other style, like a fist, or in Nhat-Nam, fist we call like a rock or a hammer style, because fist is used more like a hammer, so there won't be so much movement with the wrist.
Yeah.
Still, there will be some, but not so much. Tiger is because you grab and rip, and so it's a lot of must be engaging.
Okay, so straight away, someone who would see this haven't been that popular like as other ones. Would say like, so what is actual practical usage to it? Can you use it as an actual combat? Can you use it in a martial, as a martial art, as in a fight? So like, for example, from Kung Fu, we have Sanda, right? So we have Kung Fu, and then Sanda is mental. It's very, very powerful, very insane. We know like Will Mackey, he's Sanda's guy. He's done, and he's done some competitions. He's tough as nails, tough as they come. Just insane. Like if you see him working out, smashing a bag, it's like stay away from it. It's gonna fly at any moment. But Wushu, for example, don't have as a fight thing, right? So they just do forms and it's beautiful. It's a certain type of sport. What is the deal with Nhat-Nam?
I would say, for me, I don't know where to start from, because...
No, just give me, tell me, like, is there, like, actual quite big usages, or do they have competitions? Do they have...
So in Lithuania, we have a lot of competitions, competitions like sparring competitions.
Yeah, like sparring competitions.
We have competitions that is very original, and I think you've never seen anywhere else, is with the long stuff.
I saw the long stuff, actually. They probably in this video, the long stuff, someone who's done stuff in Kung Fu, and I competed as well, and I really can appreciate, because I can see how hard, it's a heavy stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So it's much harder to do all those moves, and I can totally have respect to that. And it's also more practical, because in Kung Fu, we go with these very light stuffs, and in reality, or in a war, they will give you something metal and heavy.
Yeah.
Like that skill goes out of the window, but you guys know actually what's going on there. But before you go talking about stuff and other stuff, tell me about the sparring. Is there any videos of sparring of Nhat-Nam? Or?
I think you can find, but you need to research it.
Yeah, when we're going to have a break, I will try to find it, and then we can go back to it.
Okay.
So tell me, how does the sparring looks like?
So, sparring is very similar actually to Kung Fu Sanda.
Okay.
And just about 3 years ago, because pandemic, deleted 2 years. So I think about 4 years ago,
we had a vacation for 3 years.
I started competing in Sanda here in UK as well. Yeah, I had few wins, few losses, but it was a good experience. So very similar, because you see, when you compete, you need to put the gloves on. So a lot of technique goes through the window. Yeah,
because you have all the wrists, all the poking eyes, and grabbing the nose, ripping up
throat.
Yeah, I saw some of those. I'm like, but also, like, how do you practice them? Yeah, you can kind of like pretend that it's gonna happen, but you don't really do them.
Actually, there is a book written by the professor, the manual, how to practice all this stuff.
Oh wow!
Yourself. Yeah. How to prepare a dummy.
Play bowling. Play a lot of bowling.
Special dummy, and like bowling. I think probably climbing would help more than the bowling, because climbers, like bouldering and climbing.
Or just being a naughty boy. Hey. That's a naughty boy joke. Which was that was the noise you wanted to ask me.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah, eventually. So just that's why when you have the gloves on, probably the style that is closest is Sanda, and that's why for us it was quite simple to move into Sanda.
So what about like the basic strikes? We do like hooks and basic punches and oh my god, my head doesn't work. What is it?
Jab, cross.
Jab, cross. Yeah, hooks. All of that you guys use, but do you how do you practice them? Do you do pads?
Yeah, we do pads.
Okay.
Yeah, we do pads. So
kicks. What about spin kicks? Push
kicks, roundhouse, push kick.
So all of those are in there.
Everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have that that whip kick. You know, I haven't seen it used a lot, but now even in UFC, I see fighters start using that kick as well. You know, when we go from inside out. That.
Oh yeah. That's funny enough. I was actually on this job that we met together. We were asked to do this one audition, kind of help for this audition for these 3 girls who came in. We used that kick.
Oh, did you?
I was doing that kick. Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot what's the name of it. In karate, we had that as well when I used to study it. But that considered to be a very advanced kick and stuff.
It is.
So yeah,
it is.
So you kind of you can go for a push kick, almost like push kick, and
then you whip
and just whip to the
whip
other side. For those who are listening to this, imagine there's a roundhouse kick, right? So if you go roundhouse kick, but imagine doing with the same leg that other way around, just the other side. So you go round inside a roundhouse, you go inside.
Yeah.
No, we're not recording. We're recording.
Snake style is soft and sharp at the same time.
How many styles are there?
A lot. You know.
Any creature you can imagine.
So this one, for example, it's moving mountain.
Wow, that is pretty. So this is when you talk about fists using like as a hammers.
Yeah. So moving. So the idea, like for example, you see the Nhat-Nam is a martial. I always like to say that it is a martial, but it's an art. You know. So moving mountain. If you would practice as a movement, you would do like, okay, you know, because how do you learn? You know, you have a master or a friend and he shows you the movement and you're like, okay, I move like this, I do, you know. But then they tell you it's a moving mountain, you know. So meditate on it, you know. What is the moving mountain, you know? Why? How mountain can move? What is about? What is
it can't?
Yeah. It can't. But you know, what is the idea of this? How to say? Concept of moving mountain. You know?
I have my main question is what kind of drug you guys usually did in Nhat-Nam? Is it weed? Is it shrooms? Is it?
To be honest, it was very strict. You know, our community was very strict regarding
no substances,
nothing. You know,
because Vietnam is not very like I've been in Vietnam once. You know, I did my trip from Da Nang to Ho Chi Minh City on a scooter. Woo! 700 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, 700 miles I did in maybe a week with the idea that every once in a while I would just stop and chill at the beach. And I realized I was going through this all industrial area. There was no beaches. I was just going through these stinky, horrible places. It was interesting for me to see that the Soviet or the communism is everywhere still there. It's like you see these huge fields and some police officers, they're kind of hiding in the corner and stuff, and with the white gloves. And as go to the stores, they have the same product, like hundreds of them in one. Like just like it was in Soviet Union back in Latvia, Lithuania.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting to see. But then when I finally got to like the resort areas, oh my god, totally different life. Yeah. All the tourists just having a good time and stuff. One thing what I noticed in Vietnam, and this maybe explains why it went first of all to Russia, because when I was in those kind of resort areas, tourists, so many Russians. I would go like. Stores, the title of the stores, pharmacies would be in Russian, and I realized that locals speak better Russian than English. So I think from very long time ago, Russians used to go there, and maybe some of them kind of learn about the martial art and picked it up. Not sure. Just kind of a
I think there was some kind of maybe how to say. Sympathy.
Yeah, but I think also like Vietnam was communism just when USSR was communism.
Oh yeah.
So they used to be pals. weren't they?
Yeah.
So they would have all these maybe exchanges with the sports and stuff, and they would go see like, this is what we have, this is what you have. We're gonna teach you Sambo, and you teach us Nhat-Nam. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just finish this video. Tell me more about what is going on here.
Yeah, so this is so that's why I say, so when you have a movement, but on top of the movement you add the poetry, we have a stuff.
That's the heavy stuff, and you can see how heavy it is. Or you're just super strong.
And and it's not how to say, not wibbly stuff,
that's kung fu people have,
so
wibbly stuff.
Yeah, so these are the kids practicing in one of our sport
But one
camps.
thing I'm pretty sure that kung fu has advantage over the wiggly stuff, it's we are faster with the stabbing.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's very light and stuff.
Yeah.
To develop coordination,
Yeah, so
Nhat-Nam
general acrobatics.
All your students can do acrobatics as well.
It's like one of the topics to practice on.
That's awesome. That I really like that.
Yeah, so these kids now, this is when we just started teaching in UK.
Yeah.
So these kids there's my teacher Petros Golovac.
So I thought like the guy with the long hair with the ponytail, it must be the teacher.
This guy is Andrius. He's Andrius Danilovas. He's the first one who started teaching Nhat-Nam in UK.
Oh, okay.
He's the first one who like.
How many schools do you have right now in the UK?
Before the pandemics, we had so it was going up and down, you see. But at the best point we had four clubs in different areas around London and Reading. And
Reading is just 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah. And finally we had one, and then that one was as well, we had to say, suspended for the pandemic.
Yeah. So okay, sorry again. Before pandemic, how many clubs do you have?
So before it was 2, but at the best time we had 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how easy is to get people into this? Like
very difficult.
Very difficult, because they think it's just some kind of a. Well, I'm not gonna be lying. The first time I saw it, looked very out there martial art.
Yeah.
But again, like just what you just said now, that you actually do sparrings, that you actually do all those things. It's almost like you need to guys figure out how to present yourself, how to...
The selling point.
The selling point. Because like this, where is that selling point? Oh, even though I love it, it's one of my favorites, but this is a scary selling point, just saying.
People just like, what is it about? What is it about? Yeah, but you see, how to say... Only now, so I'm like, after 25 years of practicing this martial art, only now probably I would say I would understand about, I can't say that I understand all of this martial art, but I would say I understand most of what the benefit and how you can, why we do what we do. You know?
But this, just as what we talked about, the selling point, it's like, because now super famous, popular is UFC, right? Everyone wants to do mixed martial arts, because that's cool. BJJ is super cool. One of the reasons, because it's been used in MMA.
And they approve themselves.
There's no gi, there's gi, and it's all, and then you come out with this. Wait, I'm not making fun.
It's called Quen, or sequence of movements, which are
but I understand. Okay, but when we think, what is training? Like for example, if we take an athlete, let's say MMA athlete, let's think like this. We take an MMA athlete. He's training for a fight. Yeah. His training will consist of grappling, punching, so groundwork, this strength and conditioning. What's after? And what's then? So, and that's where you see osteopathy studies come in, kicks in, because like you think, what else your body need?
Listen, like I'm just joking around here, but honestly, like BJJ. Gi, no gi, but all the MMA stuff, they're so dangerous. People get crippled. It is cool. It is cool to see that on the screen, But like even Joe Rogan, who is like one of the biggest advocates for BJJ, like he's like, oh, my back is fucked, my knees are fucked, everything's fucked, I need to replace this, replace that. It's almost like because I started doing BJJ and very quickly I started getting all these nasty injuries. It's whether you are so dedicated that you do all the conditioning properly, you do all the stretching properly, all of that what people don't really see and don't talk about, but they just see like submissions and the wins and all that.
That's the thing.
And yeah, I think like in your case is just to figure out those other kind of, again, selling points, and how there's much more to that, and people, unfortunately, they you know, they're so what's the clickbait, you know.
Yep.
It's all about like, oh, what is cool, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
they don't really think about it. That's the biggest problem.
It's always about those cherries, you know. Everyone is looking for the cherry.
Yeah,
You know, even
yeah.
on Instagram, you know, I look at my friends who are athletes or PTs or, you know, just fitness people, you know, and everyone's like, oh, look, they do this challenge. Oh, let's try this challenge, you know. And everyone is like going for those cherry picking, you know, let's do this, let's do that, let's
Yeah,
do this, let's do
yeah.
that, you know. And my teacher for many years, he was saying, guys, don't get distracted by that. Stick to the plan, you know, just follow the path. And all these things, they will come naturally.
Yeah, but we're humans. We want a
Yeah.
quick fix. We want a quick result. We want to like try to convince a parent. Well, I don't know how nowadays they fix this. You know, they probably wouldn't, if the child is bullied and beaten up, they wouldn't come nowadays and say, "Oh, that's nice. My phone is still on." They're not gonna say to a child, "Listen, learn martial art and go beat up that guy or whatever." But back in the days, if a parent is like, okay, I need to get my son or daughter stronger, and they would have option to go to this martial art or to go to boxing or to go to kickboxing, which is like, you know, straightforward and easy peasy, kind of like you learn how to punch and strike. I if I put myself in those shoes, the decision is very easy, right? And only if I would know you as a teacher personally, then I'll be, oh, actually, there's more to that. There's, you know.
I really like that you touched this topic, because actually I was talking with my wife about the same thing few days ago when we were driving to East Devon. So if you would look from one point of view, yes, of course.
Yeah.
You want your child to learn how to defend themselves, you know, go boxing, go kickboxing. It's the easiest way, you know. Punch, strike, ta, you know. But at the same time, is that the safest thing?
From many perspectives, especially among adults, it's not 100%. It's actually more dangerous for me to know martial art, because if the shit goes down, and so many cases are that you punch someone, they fall and they crack their heads and all that kind of stuff. That's why also like BJJ is apparently one of the best ones, because you don't
Yep.
hurt someone,
Yep.
you know, breaking their
Just
bones.
put them asleep.
Put them asleep, yeah.
But so is it? So you see, that's where we're coming from. And again, you know, you teach that, but no matter how strong you will be, there might be a stronger one. You know, there might be someone with a knife. There might be someone with a gun. You know?
That's why I will take my kids for running classes, so they look athletics. Just run.
Just run, just run, run, Forrest, run. You know,
Exactly.
you know. So yeah. So is that the same? And that's what I said to my wife. I said, that's why I'm so, how to say, glad. So that's why I will be glad till the end of my life to my teacher, because he not only, how to say, held us in this environment, you know, and created this environment for us, safe environment with friends and other teenagers. You know, we are practicing cool stuff. We did acrobatics, we did this. And for actually, you know, when you ask, do you compete? Actually, we were not allowed to compete in like sparrings and everything for first, I think, 5 or 6 years of practicing.
And other martial arts do that in like 3rd class or
That's
something.
you know, and we were conditioning. And my master, my teacher, he was looking for many different interesting ways how to keep our mind interesting, you know, how to say, interested.
Yeah.
To keep conditioning instead of going to that, let's go and punch each other. Because when you start fighting and you get that confidence that actually I'm strong, where that confidence can lead, especially in the street, you know. Sometimes you might react to someone did something wrong, hey you, you know, and you don't know that person, you know. Maybe you will knock him out, but he might go after you for days, for weeks.
Yeah, the aftermath can be crazy.
Can be crazy.
Their friend could be around the corner with a knife.
Yeah. That's why my teacher, he was always, for years, he was saying, the mastery of this martial art is to learn to fight in the way that you would never need to use it.
I totally agree, and that's what we were taught actually in karate as well. Our coach, he said, like, yes, this is the one thing when you do kumite, you spar here on the mat with the gloves, with the mouth guard, and there's another thing to do on the street. He said, like, that's the last resort. The last resort, if you need to protect your family or you need to, you know, that's a lot, 100%. But I think that can be used for any martial art. Depending really on your coach. It could be your boxing coach, it could be karate, any coach. But the question here now more stands that you said for 5 years you never did any like sparring and stuff. Yeah. So if shit does go down, who's gonna have more chance to defend their close ones, or yourself, the one who did Muay Thai, where you kick your shins and you're very, very conditioned, and if you kick someone in a leg and they just succumb, or someone who's never sparred for 5 years, who's gonna have more chance to fight?
You see, from my experience, what I see, it's very in the personal thing.
No, of course it is.
Individual thing, I would say. Because when I start training kids and I start taking kids to the competitions, you know, I've seen so many different scenarios, you know. I've seen kids who train for months, you know, very dedicated, like bam, 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 good, yeah. And they will go to competition and they seize, you know, they fail. As soon as they get hit or something, that's it. They don't know. All the technique goes through the window.
It's a shock. So, but did they spar at their school?
Yeah, they spar. They did. You know, we did proper pad work, sparring. You know, everything, conditioning. You know.
But I think it's mainly just a different environment. So they like get exposed to different environment, and they don't know what to do.
Yes, that's why I see it's so individual. And I've seen some other guys who they were lazy. They were, you know, like and then we go to competition. And just before he goes, he said, what I need to do? And I tell him, keep your hands up. And as soon as you see he's open, kick or punch. And that's it. And he goes and he wins, you know. And you look at that and you think, how? You know?
Yeah. I actually can relate to that. When I did karate, when I used to compete, I was scared shitless. I was so nervous. I would go like 20 times to the toilet. I hated it. The best feeling was after the fight. Yeah. The best feeling, it felt like, oh my God, I'm the king of the world. Because like already whatever unexpected happened or what I thought and how, because in your head you like, I'll go all through all these different scenarios. So, is he going to punch me? Is he going to break my nose? Is he going to do this to me or whatever? Am I going to be better? Am I going to be faster? Though, as more I competed, as better I was getting, as more my confidence. And for some kids, that is maybe already given. It's in their DNAs. It's already, you know, depending how they are. Yeah. But for some kids, they need to work on that. And I definitely had to work on that.
So I would say we almost all have it, you know, because it's like a natural survival mechanism. But just we either suppress it or we are either traumatized by something that create the mental block.
That's true, but also our survival instinct can kick in differently, whether we fight or we run.
Or we freeze.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's like a dare on the road.
Yeah. I don't remember if Gabor Mate talks about it in his book, the one that When the Body Says No. Does he talks about the freezing mechanism? I
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's another book that I was thinking to text you, but I forgot about it. It's called Waking the Tiger, Healing the Trauma.
Yeah, you did send it to me as
well.
Did
it? I did that. Yeah. So
I think I couldn't find it.
That
Listen, let's finish with the about the martial arts and stuff, and then we can have a little break.
Okay. So yeah, so you see, and that's why I say I'm so glad to my teacher, because he's for so many years he just kept us in that environment, you know, safe environment with the friends. He was keep our mind occupied by, you know, that all cool stuff, acrobatics, weapons, you know, staff, sword, you know, different challenges to our body, and that created certain habit to stay active, constantly keep our body stimulated by different stimulus, you know. And that's why for me, like when about how long ago was it? About 7 years, when first time 8 years first time when I heard about Ido Portal, you know, and when I saw what he does, I was like, that's what we were doing for years, you know.
For those who don't know, Ido Portal, he was combining capoeira, he was combining like body weights training, like with rings and stuff, and he was huge. And there was also the animal movement, like the
animal movement in our training was like one of the main.
That's what you guys were doing all the time.
Yeah, all the time, you know. And like at one point, you know, I got very upset with that, you know, because like we did it for years, you know, and now he comes up like with something new, like boom, look at this, you know.
But that was the thing, he found a selling point.
That's the
boom
thing, you know.
And I think that's with everything and anything. But like there's so many things that been not popular for years. They were just, and then someone like a movie, I think capoeira changed so much with Mark Dacascos when he did that film. Oh my God! Everyone was doing capoeira.
Yeah,
what was the name of that film?
I don't remember. But Mark Dacascos,
and it was huge. You know, Fabio Santos. I hope we're gonna have him soon. Like he's crazy capoeirista, and we talked like he's done capoeira now for 20 whatever years, and that was also one of his inspirations. And like for me, so what I'm saying is that there has to be some kind of breaking point, something that, like I'm pretty sure there would be a famous actor doing.
Nhat-Nam?
Nhat-Nam. That's just the title. You want to say it. Because in Russian, Nhat means no. So is it yes nam or no nam? Nhat-Nam or da-nam? And yeah, so someone comes out and makes it famous and popular. Like Seagull did the same thing with Aikido. Yeah. And then you guys look at you. You should start. We should do a film.
We need to do a movie.
Okay, let's have a break. And we're going to be back in a second.
Okay.
Okay. And we are back. We just did a refill on coffee. How you feeling? You got we got a heating blanket now.
Yes, now I feel a bit better.
Adomas, you're from Lithuania. Shouldn't you be like used to the cold and stuff?
Yeah, but as I said, it's probably the adrenaline shake, you know? It's like I'm so excited that my body doesn't know how to control the
we popped
turmoil.
Adomas cherry today. It's his first podcast.
Yes, it is.
Here we are. No, I'm again very happy to be that you're here, buddy. So we talked about martial art, which is there's so much to talk about.
It is.
We could do it till tomorrow. We're not gonna have time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Buddhist and Buddhism.
So everything is, you see, in my life, everything is sort of blends in together, because I got into the Buddhism through martial arts. You know, through my martial art teacher. So I was 8 years old when I started.
You were 8 years old when you started Buddhism?
Yes. So,
right.
so again...
That's about the time when I stopped using diaper and you went into Buddhism. Hey!
Yeah, so idea was, as I mentioned, my dad was into yoga, you know, since as long as I remember myself, you know, and as long as I remember my dad, you know, he was very into yoga. And one day, after the martial art class, you know, my teacher said, we're going to finish earlier today because we have a guest from Tibet. You know, we have a Lama coming from Tibet, and he's going to give some teachings, you know, and if you're interested, come and join, come listen, you know. And so my martial art teacher, my master, he's a Buddhist as well, and he follows the same Buddhist school, or how to say, like lineage, as we call it, a lineage. And he said, come and listen, you know. And at that point I was like, yeah, okay, but I don't know. And I went back home, and my dad was like, why are you so early? You know, it's like, oh, because there's some kind of lama from Tibet, you know, and he's giving teachings. And my dad's, really? You joking? I was like, no. Do you want to go and listen? I was like, yeah, I would like to, but I don't know. He's like, okay, let's go. You know, and my dad, he took me to the teachings over there. We sat there. He stayed there. I was listening. And I don't know, probably because of what I was going through that in that time in my life, my parents were divorcing, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my parents were divorcing about that when I was that age. And I was feeling very insecure. You know, I remember I had a lot of anxiety. Now I would know how to name it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
anxiety.
At the time, you're just like, what the hell is
At
this?
the
Some
time,
kind of
you
demons?
just know, just demons, that stress, you know, constantly, you know, you want to cry, you know, and you don't know what's happening with you. And that's why everyone is like, oh, he's very emotional child. He's very emotional child. You know, I had that emotional child label, you know.
Yeah.
And when I went there to those teachings, I found peace. You know, honestly, I didn't understand at that point. Probably I understood just like 10%, maybe 20% of what was it about.
What language were they using?
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the Lama, he was talking Tibetan. Then they had one translator from Tibetan into English and another translator from English to Lithuanian.
It's like 5 minutes later, you guys got the
yeah. So 5 minutes later, you have that, and so the lectures. So now when I think, it's crazy, because can you imagine how good, now when I think how good I was feeling in that environment, that I was able to stay there for 3 hours.
8 years old kid.
8 years old kid.
Wow.
3 hours in the lecture with one break. After hour and a half, you have like 10-15 minutes break, and you go back, you sit down, and you listen.
It's totally opposite from me being in a Catholic church when I was 8 years old. I was like, still like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you see, so I, you know,
Wow.
I went there, I just saw that person, Lama, who's my teacher and my Lama until now. And
What does it mean, Lama?
so Lama is like a status of a Buddhist teacher, like you know, like in Catholic you have as well. So Lama, or so he's like guru. But
And
like
after Lama, next is wolf, and then tiger, and then elephant. Hey, cheap shot.
So no, they have this. So they have like Dalai Lama. He's like highest. Yeah. So he's for me, he's like guru or lama. We call it a root guru. So the main guru who's teaching you. So when I saw him, for me, that's it. I was sitting there and I was just like feeling content and happy. You know, I was just feeling content and happy and didn't need anything else. I was just sitting there listening for those teachings, and not only listening, I was taking notes. You know, a few months ago, maybe about a year ago, I found a notebook full of notes.
Wow.
From those teachings, you know.
That is really cool.
And it was like literally, you know when you write on the paper, when you write a lot, the paper becomes like a bit like crumbly and and soft. And that whole notebook was just like literally like, you can see that it was used, from the fingers, from the sweat of the fingers, everything. And I was reading that notebook, I was like, wow.
That is interesting.
And that's what this, and when I say that story, when I start telling that story to some people from other people from the Buddhist environment, they were like, wow, mate, you had such a strong karmic connection with this teaching, And I was like, at that point, I was like, what do you mean karmic connection, Because in Buddhism, they say, you're not going to get that kind of, it's very difficult for all these circumstances to line up for you to have a chance to meet Buddhism in such an early age, And if you would think, Lithuania is not a Buddhist country,
Yeah, but what is Buddhist country? What is not Buddhist country?
Like, where's the main religion is Buddhism, where everyone, like, if you go to Thailand or like Tibet,
No, I understand that, but like Buddhism, as far as I understand, and anything in our lives, it's an energy. It's a people, like anything, like right now, me and you, we're two sources of energy.
Yeah.
Whether we are interacting with that positive energy, negative energy, we can feel it, we can sense it.
Yeah.
And the way, like, this story makes so much sense to me is this little boy who is in this crazy time in his life, but his parents are getting divorced. So there's a lot of negative probably energies going on around the house, and then you come to this place where it's just surrounded by all these people who are there connected with this specific type of energy, that they're like looking for something, or they want to find the peace, and they're open to these experiences. And I think you just kind of, okay, so I got it. You know, I'm sensing this, and you don't have to understand what they say. You don't have to do any of that. And I think, like, I'm not religious at all, but the only religion I think I would like to go into would be Buddhism, 100%, because that is the only religion where they don't try to, you know, be pushy and try to convince you that this is the only way to live in your life and this and this. It's more, as I understand, is like, listen, if you're open for this, and this can help you, and it's just spirituality, and just be nice to people, and that's all it is. So yeah.
In general, a lot of Buddhists, like teachers, lamas, they say that, or Rinpoche is another like status for teacher, Rinpoche, lama. So they say that actually the Buddhism is not like, looking from the Western standards, Buddhism is not like Western people, they call Buddhism religion, but actually it's not even a religion. Mm-hmm. It's more like a philosophy
or way of life,
or way of life,
way of being.
Yeah. I remember for me was once I met a person where there was a lady, she was from one of the country where the Buddhism is like a main religion, you know. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was so funny because I was like Western, you know, I was trying to find the way how to, and we started talking about the Buddhism, and I was like, oh, so do you practice Buddhism? You know, because here, like in Western, you can be Buddhist, but you don't need to. You just like Buddhism. You have few statues.
You have that label on it.
Yeah, you have a label, and that's it. You know, and for those people, you know, and you can be a Buddhist who practices, or who have some certain teachings and meditation that you follow and you do, you know, regularly, and like you. But the people who grew up in the Buddhism, it's the way of living.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I remember when I asked that question, she looked at me and she's like, what do you mean practicing Buddhism? You know, and I was like, at that point, I just realized how stupid that question was. You know?
And it's an interesting question, actually, because practicing a religion, for a lot of people, it's going to church or going to mosque or going to the place where they gather. That is practicing religion.
Yes.
In my opinion, practicing is to do it every day, in a sense, to follow those values.
Yep.
Because as a kid, when I grew up, I remember my mom, she was very religious. She grew up in a very religious environment, because Catholicism, that was the only kind of a safe place. That was the kind of a smart, or not smart, but just a good thing to do. It was considered to be, if you go to church, if you follow these,
you're a good person.
Yeah, you're a good person.
Yep.
Exactly. And they follow the 10 commandments, you know, don't stealing, no, all of these things. And then I remember my mom, she, you know, again, maybe her grandma was teaching this to her. And, you know, when I got older, I just thought, what the fuck was that? Basically, every time there would be thunderstorm, she would be like, let's go inside the house, close all the windows, close all the doors, found the darkest little place, and we pray. We pray as much as we can, because God is angry, and he's throwing lightning and thunder. Wow. And that is, as a kid, already then I was like, something is not right about this whole bullshit. And then only afterwards, I realized my mom is just petrified from thunderstorm. You know, and she found out that's kind of her escapism. That's how she deals with it. Yeah. And then she was pushing that on us as a kids.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when I said, like, Mom, even though my physics is really crap, as I said to you before, like, you know, there's an explanation behind why there's thunder, why there's lightning, and all that stuff. But she was living it. She was so every day you like. If I would do something bad, she was like, "Oh, God gonna see this, you know. If you lie, God is gonna punish you." That kind of stuff. But obviously, they were using to control and different advantage taking over you and stuff. But that's about the practice. But one of the craziest things I remember with the Catholic older women, like babushkas, so they would go to church every Sunday religiously.
Yeah,
a perfect way to use it. Go to every Sunday. And then they would assume, because they go into every Sunday, that they are better, that they're like pure, right?
Yeah.
and then whenever they're not in church, they're the nastiest witches ever. And then
spoilers.
Yeah, and then they go back to church, and then they do their when they tell their
gossips.
sins. No. When they tell the sins. So that all is let go, and you're fine to do that shit again. So I could see that straight away. That something is not right with this.
Yeah, and so for me, you see the practice. So actually, practicing religion is being there. Staying with the. For me, what is practicing is for me as well. For many years, I was following those meditations and like guidance and like at this point, I would say I would love to do more of that. Again, come back, but because now with my life, of course, now I have an excuse. I have children, wife, job, and the life is so busy, and I don't have time to do it every day like what I used to do when I was younger. But I'm still. But then, it's like in Buddhism, it's just like one of the most important things is connect your mind with your gurus, with your lama's mind, and it's a certain experience that you need to achieve first, and when you achieve that experience, then you need to practice certain amount, of hours, of times to be able to revoke it again, And when you're able to do that, you realize that actually you can do it almost anywhere and any time.
Yeah.
And actually, so that's the goal. So you need to stay in that mind as much as you can. Not your mind, but your teacher's, your guru's mind. And that's why another thing what I liked about the Buddhism, that it's not about that you have a person, like a human, I'd say a refuge that can, you feel. Again, I think it's a lot of with the natural, physical, like human, need of connection and community. And
we're very social creatures. We need
that, and in Buddhism, I felt that very clearly, and that you have that person who, not everyone can be a Lama, not everyone can be Rinpoche in Buddhism, and there's of course, there's always a risk that you will find someone who's a fake one, because as everywhere else, there's a lot of fake, teachers.
Yeah, just like a lot of fake martial arts around there as well. Yeah. I actually have a question regarding Buddhism, which I just kind of thought about it now. So the religions, what I know, like Catholics, Christians, or Catholics type of Christian, Muslims, anytime when someone sins, then there's a certain punishment they will take upon from. They go to the priest or whatever, and they say like, "Listen, Father, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to read 100 Hail Marys, 20 push-ups, and then you're good." How is it in Buddhism?
It's a very, very interesting question. Actually, I remember I explained that quite a few times for different people. So in Buddhism, we have 2 days a month when we do that kind of process.
Push-ups.
Not push-ups, but when you you...
is it remorse? Is it like...
when you say that, I did these mistakes, So in Buddhism, one of the worst thing is breaking Samaya. Samaya is like your commitments. It's like the easiest way probably would be explained is the commitments, when you break your commitments. And actually maintaining the Samaya, the quality of Samaya is the most important thing, is if your Samaya degenerates, your practice, if your Samaya degenerates, you're in the trouble, So that's why in Buddhism, even those sins, but this the quality of Samaya is more important, because even if you're doing a lot of sins, but if your Samaya is clear, your commitment, if you're still maintaining your commitments, you will be able to overcome it. But if your Samaya is poor, for you will be very difficult to.
So what do you do when you broke your Samaya or?
So there's 2 days a month. It's a day is called Guru Rinpoche Day and Dakini Day. It's like 2 days a month, like a special day when we do a ritual called Tsog.
Mm.
And this ritual is
Tug of war?
no, not Tsog.
Hey. So there's basically what it is. There's this big hall with a fire inside,
Yeah.
and there's 5 guys on one side, 5 guys on the other side.
Yeah.
And then they pull the rope, and whoever is stronger, survives. I love Buddhism.
It's called TSOG, Tsog. And actually, this when you during this practice, what you do, you offer a food.
Okay.
You offer food, wine. It can be like any beverage, but especially must be wine.
Fish and chips.
For example,
Okay.
you can go for fish and chips. You know, the idea actually need to offer something that is highly valuable,
Yeah.
and it should be food as well. So actually, like you're offering you're doing a present to those deities and of Samaya, of the
Have you been to Bali?
no.
Yeah, in Bali, I think it's Hinduism, but it's a mixture with Buddhism.
Okay.
So they have offerings every day.
Yeah.
Every day you get out, they're gonna have in front of their house. They put the offerings.
Yeah.
But I think that's more like for the spirits and stuff, because in Bali they believe in all
Yeah,
sorts
yeah,
of
yeah,
spirits,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they have all these parades and stuff. So yeah, I don't know exactly what's the name of the religion, but and the problem with these offerings are they're always on the way. You try to ride a scooter and there's offering, and then you need to ride around it. You end up stepping in it, and they put anything like cigarettes in there. Like that's for their tobacco addicted. Spirits, I'm guessing. Sorry.
Yeah. So you do a Tsog, and actually the idea of the Tsog, it's a fest, So what you do, it's like celebration.
Feast, you mean?
Feast. Yes.
Yeah.
So you invite when you do our prayers, and so firstly before the Tsog, there's like preliminary practice where you clean and get ready, your mind and your emotions, you get ready for it. So firstly you're getting ready yourself and your mind to step into that, let's say, zone, or that vibration, that energy field, let's say. We can call, to make it better to understand, So firstly you line up your mind to that, and the better you will prepare your mind, the better will be the practice itself, So that's why you need to do those preliminary practices a lot. So you learn how to really shift your mind, shift your consciousness. Let's say consciousness, not mind, because it's a slightly different, And when your consciousness is shifted, then you go for that feast, And in that feast, you invite, like, all the deities, from 5 Buddha families. So, you invite them. And when they hear, you offer all that to them. You offer it to say, this is, these all the precious things for you. And I offer it to you because I want you to help me to maintain my strong Samaya. And I broke my Samaya.
What did you do?
So you say, it's like in the prayers, I broke my Samaya, I did. And you need to think about it. Yes, I did mistakes. I didn't do this, or I did this, or I didn't do that, but please, I want to maintain it, so you like putting a motivation, you're saying, I will do it, and you like
intention.
Intention,
you're putting
yes.
intention out there for the universe and for all the spirits.
Yes, so you're not like how to say, feeling guilt and blame.
Yeah.
But opposite, you're putting intention to be better than what you are now.
Yeah. And
for me, it's so much different,
Okay. Tell me about how, since you were 8 years old till you're 32 you 32. Said, right? And doing like all this, this is a huge gap. Like there's a lot of years in between. So you had the ups and downs and practicing Buddhism.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so when do you think, what was the time it really helped you? Or there are certain periods of your life?
One very specific time in my life, and it helped me a lot. It was when I got divorced with my first wife.
This is your second wife?
It is.
Oh, you're really not wasting your time, aren't you? Jesus Christ. How old you were when you got married first time?
24.
Nice. I actually almost got married when I was 24. So
You see,
I was,
see.
I was
Yeah.
not that much smarter.
Well,
But then all of a sudden I realized, oh, my Samaya is broken. I need to get the hell out of here.
So I was 24. I got married, and we were married for about 9-10 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. It was, I'd say, interesting period of my life. You know, I was really, I was really attached to that woman, and she left me. And I remember I spoke to my martial art teacher, because he's my mentor as well. My martial art teacher, he was, and he is my mentor and he said, just let her go, you know, just let her go. And I felt that that's the only way, you know. So I let her go. She left, and I remember, for me, it was so difficult, you know. I had so much pain in my mind and in my and in my heart, I would say, you know, physically. And I remember I just had that need to just practice, you know, just because that was the
so almost
only,
like fulfill that kind of emptiness
yes,
with something
yes,
else.
and that was the only thing that was calming me down. You know, all the other things, they were distracting me from pain that I was experiencing, and practice was the only thing that was healing that pain.
Yeah.
Know? Because even now I see a lot of people, we do some things, and we do things to get distracted, you know, not to heal, not to solve the problem or the pain that we have, but to get distracted.
Well, that's what we do with alcohol. That's what we do with partying. That's what we do
coping
with
mechanism.
Coping mechanism, yeah. And we there's a void to fill it with something else.
So you can have a coping mechanism, just gonna, how to say, distract or delay, you know, or you can actually find the coping mechanism that literally is going to heal it, you know. And for me, this Buddhist practice was literally the process that I could feel it healing, you know, slowly, but it was healing.
So were you like around 24, 25, were you shaved head with a robe walking around Lithuania?
So in Buddhism, you have different schools. You
with
have
a bell.
yeah. So in Buddhism, you have different schools. So you have Sutra and Tantra path. So Sutra.
I heard of Tantra.
Yes. So so Tantra, again, in Western world, people think Tantra. So everyone thinks about tantric sex. You know, everyone's like,
no, that's not what I thought.
Of course.
There's this move in wakeboarding. It's called tantric. You do a backflip.
Oh, okay.
It's actually a true story. They do call it. I think I'm not sure whether it's tantric or tantrum or tantra something, but it's as you do the kick, you do a backflip, and that's how they call it. I don't know why.
Okay, so, but Sutra and Tantra. So Sutra is like actually the path of monk.
Okay.
So you shave your head, you go to the monastery, you wear orange robes. You're not allowed to eat meat. You're not allowed to drink alcohol. You're not allowed to interact with women.
What's wrong with meat?
Again, it's because meat is killing an animal, so you support the killing. You know.
Yeah, but if you eat veggies, you kill a veggie. Oh shit! We don't want to open that can of worms.
No. It's just like from the Buddhist point of view, whatever you do, whichever action you do in this world, in the we call it samsaric world, you accumulate bad karma.
Right. So all the carnivores gonna suffer.
Whatever action, we're not even talking about eating, but whichever action. So actually, just for your body to survive, you accumulate bad karma. For this physical body to survive in this world, you are accumulating bad karma.
Okay.
Because, as there's one of the most important books in the Buddhism called The Words of My Perfect Teacher. And in that book, they talk about how to understand it. So, for example, even just to grow a veg or any, vegetable or any grain, you plow a field. When you plow a field, you will kill a lot of insects and worms, and and when you then when the veg or something grows, you will use pesticides or something again to kill. So just to grow again, there will be so much death around that food that when you eat it, you will be connected with those deaths.
Right.
And just by the connection, so actually the karma, like they say, so in Buddha, like how the law of karma works. So you don't need to directly kill someone, but even if you're contributing to that death, at least a bit, you share a equal, responsibility for that death.
Oh wow.
That's how it is. That's how the karma law works. So so if to grow, let's say to grow a carrot, if there was like 2,000 insects died for that carrot to grow, so that death responsibility for that death will be equal to everyone, from the person who planted that carrot to person who eaten that carrot.
Yeah, everyone involved in
those 2,000 deaths of those insects. So that's why
the crime.
But at the end, you have an animal as well. So if you kill the animal and you eat the meat, so actually that's a death that you could avoid. And again, so you have all those deaths, and for animal to grow, he eats the food again, so he accumulates bad karma, and then you kill him, and there's another one death. So actually there's one death that you can avoid. So there's one effort that you can do to avoid that death, to avoid that bad karma. That's why this, and and on top of that, there's a lot of some other things, but just the simplest thing. What's the wrong with me? But as I said, for our body just to be here, we're already accumulating a lot of bad karma, a lot of death around it.
It's almost like in Christianity, there's like we were born with a sin.
Actually, in Buddhism, they say a bit different.
Really? What do they say?
The one of the most important ideas of the Buddhism that actually we all have Buddha's mind.
Which means?
We all are enlightened.
Oh, okay. That's better than in Christianity.
We are all enlightened.
You're born with a sin already.
Yeah. Just the only thing that we need to do, we need to recognize it.
Oh, okay. And it takes different time for people to understand that they're enlightened. Okay, listen, one of their cameras died, so we need to have a little break.
Back.
We're back.
We're back. Cameras
back
reset.
to reality. So we talked about martial arts, we talked about Buddhism, and now we're going to talk about osteopathy.
Yep.
So how did that started? How long you been doing this, and what is it? I have no idea. What is osteopathy?
So I finished my studies just a few years ago.
Just pull a little bit further away. Remember fist?
Fist, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
That's
so I finished my osteopathy studies just a few years ago. I studied at University College of Osteopathy in London, close to London Bridge. And you see, when people ask how long I was doing it, I feel like osteopathy was so close to what I need to come back to martial arts because I grew up there, and just I feel it was so close to what my martial art teacher was teaching me about the body and how body functions, and how body can heal itself. And so when I moved to London for the first few years, I was thinking, okay, I wanted to get a professional knowledge, because before moving to London, I was studying acting back in Lithuania.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was studying. I studied acting for 2 years, then I left the academy.
Were you too good?
No, I was too ambitious. I remember one of my teacher in the acting academy, she looked at me and said, "Listen, young man, your ambitions are higher than your ammunition."
Oh, snap. Than your ammunition. I like that.
Yeah, that's a really good saying, and I remember because she said that in front of all the
No.
Yeah, because I was very unhappy about the grading that I had. I was like, I think it's unfair. Can you explain me why I got this grading? And she's like, "Listen, young man, there's nothing I need to, explain to you, know, because," and then there was, but that phrase was she dropped the mic.
Yeah, she dropped the bomb and the mic in the same time.
Yeah. So I moved to London, and I thought, no, I still need to get a professional knowledge. So, and the knowledge that would help me to do what I'm doing now. And I just started teaching martial arts then. And I was thinking about, becoming professional. So firstly, I was thinking about the physiotherapy, but in that time, those 2 or 3 years when I was just planning to do physiotherapy, it was quite difficult to get the position because there was so many people trying to go into the physio.
Yeah.
So I tried Brunel University, I tried St. George's, and it didn't happen. It didn't work, And then I thought, and then somehow, then I did the access course for medicine and medical sciences in City and Islington College for a year. But again, I didn't finish that course. I was just about to finish, then I went through the divorce. The one that we spoke. And really the study wasn't the thing, that I was concentrating on. And so I didn't, there was like just a few things to finish, but I didn't make that. And then so I took a gap year, and then I thought, no, I need to come back. And I realized actually physio is not what I want to do, Not really my vibe, And then I researched, and then I found osteopathy. I was like, osteopathy, I heard something about it, I read a bit. Then I said to my martial art teacher, about that I want to study osteopathy, and he's like, one of my students, ex-students, he's doing osteopathy. Maybe you want to go and talk to him, he explained he will explain you a bit more. So I met that guy. His name is I forgot his name, but okay,
it's probably not that important.
yeah. So I met that guy in Lithuania. He explained me about the osteopathy, and I was like, okay, it sounds something what really, it was really, how to say, close to my, let's say, perception about the body and how body should be treated, and and then I applied for the osteopathy course here in London, and I got in and I finished osteopathy. And what is the osteopathy? Osteopathy is actually based on the few basic principles by the guy who started osteopathy, Andrew Taylor Still. He's an American, let's say, not scientist, but like a professional, medical professional. And he built osteopathy and few main things. So one of the principles, theories. So one of them is that the body has its own medical chest. So it means that our body can heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is that he says artery is supreme. What does it mean? That arteries, so we have blood vessels, we have veins, we have lymphatic, we have, so these are the arteries that run through our body, and they are supreme for the health of the other tissues. So if we have some restriction in the circulation of the fluids, that restriction will cause further, degeneration of the tissue.
Right. Here, I found the osteopathy there's a definition. Osteopathy is a way of detecting, treating, and preventing health problems by moving, stretching, and massaging a person's muscles and joints.
Yes.
So straight away, again, you're talking to someone who has no idea what's the difference even between osteopathy and physio.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what's the main difference?
Yeah, so I was about coming to. So, you see, I can explain in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like to say, for example, even using this term, what I just said, artery supreme, actually osteopaths are the ones that we if we follow the idea of Andrew Taylor Still, we'd be thinking that we want to alter or achieve our goal through altering the fluid dynamics in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about the fluids, so again, we talk about the same. We talk about about blood, about lymphatic drainage and lymphatic circulation, cerebrospinal fluid, so the fluid that goes between our brain, spine, and tissue fluid, just in general, that we have. And that's what we're manipulating. That's what we're working on. And by altering dynamics of those fluids, we're achieving our goal. So that's, if we talk about the chiropractors, they're working more with the
bones,
with the solid tissues like
solid
bones
tissues.
and joints, the hard tissues. And osteopath, of course, we can use the same techniques as chiropractors, the manipulation, the clicks and pops. But the idea is, even if you do click and pop, it should be you do that because you're preventing the how to say, fluid interruption, you know, or you want to improve the fluid interruption by using that technique to release something and let the fluid flow. You know, so that's the idea. So actually I'm working. That's why osteopathy can be very gentle and mild, you know, like sacroiliac or a sacral osteopathy, where people just, you know, the therapist just hold your head for half an hour, 20 minutes, and he does nothing. It feels like he does nothing, but actually he does job. With sacroiliac osteopathy, as like, it's very personal. Some therapists, I know that they are great. They really know what they're doing when they hold your head, and some of them, they just.
So what exactly is happening while they're holding the head?
So sacroiliac osteopathy is based on the cerebrospinal fluid flow. So we have your brain and your spine is connected. So actually, your brain is like sits in the bowl full of fluid, like, you know. So actually, surrounded by fluid, and this fluid connects with your spine, and it runs around your spine in your spine. Yeah, and
how much did you pay to get that degree?
And this fluid, it moves as well. It has a certain pace of movement, circulation, and it can be interrupted, you know, by injuries, traumas, and that's where. So physically, what does our skull expands and contracts 4 to 8 times a minute.
Okay.
So actually, there's a movement in our skull bones, you know, and they call sutures, the where the bone connect. The suture is moving, you know, and the osteopath who did a lot of research on that is Sutherland. He's a British osteopath, and he was the one who did the experiments on himself when he was taping his head and preventing the movement of those bones, you know, and then he started experiencing migraines and headaches and different other things, and he started, you know, he was guided by his intuition, but later it came to the science that actually it is happening. The suture is moving, you know, their bones are moving, and this movement is responsible for the pumping mechanism of that fluid, and the pumping and what can happen. So actually, if that fluid doesn't move properly, it can create certain, like, how to say, disbalance in the pressure around your bones, around your nerves, and if it's not bones, around your brain, you know. And for example, if we think about the brain, you have different centers that are responsible for the different things, you know. And if you have a very mild disbalance, you know, but let's say it's so mild that you can't feel it, but it's constant, you know. It's like a constant. So, and this is like a constant, like I like to call it stimulus, you know. So, for example, it's like a constant, like itchiness, something, you know.
Irritation. Constant irritation, yeah.
Yeah, so imagine you have a constant irritation on a certain area of your brain, and that irritation, you know, doesn't let you to relax properly.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's not a small irritation. It's quite a massive one. Actually, one of my guests, who's a musician, he got tinnitus. And like right when he just got his degree in being a producer and doing all that stuff, and he got diagnosed with tinnitus. Do you know what that is? Yeah. So that constant noise in your ear, which is like,
it can be different.
Yeah. And some people probably can have a mild one. Some people can have a like louder one. So that's kind of a little irritation stuff. Listen, like the things what you're telling me, it again for me, it's quite complicated to grasp it.
Okay.
Because there's quite straight in a deep end. But let's say, tell me first of all, what kind of problems the osteopath are dealing with mainly. So when it's straight away, if I say you, oh, listen, Adomas, I have this problem, and then you say, oh no, you probably could go to chiropractor, you probably go to physio, but if you have this problem, you should come to see an osteopath. I say, what are usually the big ones?
I say in general, we deal with pain.
Right.
with pain.
So some kind of nasty pains. Like what about I used to suffer a lot, which is much less now because I train less. I used to have nasty spasms in my back.
Yeah.
You could deal with
And
that.
any pain, So firstly, as an osteopath, you come to me. I do a screening, so I'll see, and then after the, I will do the screening and I'll let you know. I say, listen, I think I can help you, or if I see I cannot help you, I will tell you straight away.
Yeah.
Or I will say I can help you to that much, but this bit you need to go and see another professional.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So, but in general, we deal with pain, and because we deal with pain, when we talk about pain is very, how to say, complex thing.
Yeah, 100%, because there could be so many reasons for the pain.
So many reasons.
Yeah.
And a very big thing in the pain is our mind. And that's where the shit hits the
Shit
fan.
hits the fan, and that's where we can talk about the book you suggested.
Yes, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
We're gonna go a little bit further there. Like listen, like for example, I have issues with my right knee at the moment. So I still haven't went to not the X-ray, but the MRI, which I was told to do. But I was like just hoping all the time I'm gonna meet someone who's gonna say like, do this exercise, that exercise, or this massage, that massage is gonna help. So the pain is gone, but I still have like my two tendons are like kind of clicking against each other on my right knee. So since then I've been doing a lot of massages, do more swimming, less impact flipping and all that stuff. And I've started doing knees over toes, guys thing you heard about. I'm guessing
I heard, but I never checked on it.
You never check him out. So you basically just talks how we have so many different muscles which we don't really use, which can help us to strengthen, especially the knees. But I think that's for entire body. And so since I started doing those exercises, also really helps. Like feels like my knees are stronger. And I'm just annoyed that I never done this before because I could avoid so many different things. So if I have that kind of like this pain, so I could come to you and you can do the screening and check it out.
Yeah. So if you have a long-term problem, I always say, especially like knees, hips, I would say if you have a chance to do a screening, do the screening. Again, it's good to know what is there.
What do you mean by screening? You mean doing like the
MRI, X-ray, whatever screening. Just do it. It's good to know because it's a bit, how to say, gives you clearer understanding about your body.
Otherwise, we're just kind of guessing what is the issue.
Yeah. But at the same time, you don't need to be too much attached to the screening because a lot of people, they're going for the screening as approval, or at the same time as an excuse for what they have.
That's a good one.
Because they're going for the screening and they wait to see how much their joint is degenerated, and when they see the screening, they're like, yes, I knew it. That's it. I have arthritis in my knee. That's it. And they stick to that label so much. Yeah,
and also they think it's game over.
That's it.
That's the problem. As excuse, as you say. Yeah.
Osteopathy, one of like almost every treatment, almost every treatment, I repeat this phrase again and again to my people. To my patient, to my clients.
To your people. I like
to my people.
To my people.
Motion is lotion.
Oh, baby. So stretch as much as you can.
Stretch and move.
Yeah, such a move. Because the biggest, and now that's one of the biggest problems. People are sedative. People sit so much. Even me, like a couple of days ago, I was sitting editing for like 6 hours. And I remember I got up, it was just like, oh my God, everything is stiff.
And even when people move, what is the, how to say, most common patterns for movement? Is a gym.
Yeah.
And if you would look at the movement in the gym, how limited it is. If you would think about the body of how many different movements and ranges our body can do, and we limit in the gym with weights, or cardio, and that's it. Boom. So actually, you don't use all that potential.
Oh yeah, and this is also a cool way to talk a little bit about our stunt industry. So that's Both of us work in the stunt industry, and like one of the greatest things what I love about stunts is because you can do so many different disciplines. There's so many. Like yesterday, I told you I went for a run in the morning. Again, I didn't run 10 miles. I ran literally maybe a mile. Just a little kind of a warm up in the morning. Get a cold shower. Have my coffee in the morning. Then I would do wakeboarding, and then I did bike riding. So obviously wakeboarding, there was a lot of pressure on my knees, doing jumps and stuff. But again, I wouldn't do it for 2 hours. I did like maybe 30 minutes. And then I would go do bikes, and again, different muscle group involved. And in the evening, I did a swim. So like, I'm targeting a little bit of everything, but it covers all of that. And as you're right, you said like so many people just go and just do, did chest this morning, and tomorrow I'm going to do my back and my abs. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, and if you would think, like what happens now, a lot of people, they do office to gym or desk to gym.
Yeah, and so lazy to do the warm-ups and stretchings and stuff.
Yes.
And this in Kung Fu, when I did Kung Fu, we were like 30 minutes warm-up.
Yeah.
30 minutes stretch, and like sometimes warm-up and stretch is longer than actual
workout.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
And when people, go desk to gym, you see how much they, enough that you just ask them to perform like basic mobility movements like squat or something, and you see there's no mobility there.
The squat, like for example, what they call the third world country squat. Yeah, it's like how you go anywhere in Asia. This is how people chill. They just have a cigarette, eat food. Always, and that's the biggest problem with the Westerners is that they can't sit so that the heels are on the floor. So the heels are always up. So that's how stiff they are. Then one of the basics ones, reach just the floor. When you go bend over without bending your knees. I mean, for me and for us, because we're surrounded by people who do stuff all the time, and like I used to train in gymnastics all the time, so I can compare myself to them, and I would think, I'm not that good. There's this guy way better in rings, way better in parallel bars. Oh, this girl can do like splits like way better than I can do. But then you go to a normal people gym. Oh my God, I feel like I'm an alien.
You feel like a superhero.
Dude, I go to this gym now, I do handstand push-ups, right? So that's one of my routines, because I used to do pole acrobatics a lot. So handstand push-ups I can do easy, maybe 10 handstand push-ups without the wall, anything. Amount of people coming randomly to me at the changing room. Oh, dude, like this thing you did, like how long does it take? This one guy, he pissed me off. He comes over and straight away he's like, oh man, that the push-ups, the handstand push-up thing, it's like what about it? What? It's like, are you the guy who did it? And I'm like, no.
But you see, again, it's a cherry picking.
Yeah.
What we spoke about before. People just want that cherry. Handstand push-up.
How long did it take you?
Yes.
Did you know how long I did parallel bars, rings, and all sorts of conditioning?
Yeah. So it's not about, when it's, again, you see, like they say in osteopathy, there's a principle, not in osteopathy, that's what I learned from my studies, but I liked it and I use it in osteopathy. You have few principles, they're like a top of the pyramid, and those principles, they can go down into the many different techniques, and that's artery supreme, like they say, the principle, and then you can use many different techniques to how to say, to support that principle, and then same with the body. When you follow the principle, then those cherries, they come. You can have a lot of different tricks that you learn just by following that principle. If it makes sense. I'm saying, So
it makes sense.
so actually, so my idea, and like now when the more I'm training, I'm thinking, no, I want to find and I want to condense those principles. Those supreme ideas of how our body is moved, like what is the most important thing. And when you have that principle, then you start seeing how many different possibilities you have of applying it, and those possibilities are endless, and those possibilities, and that's where the creativity comes, So you not follow you do not follow the exercise, but you follow the principle. And when you follow the principle, you slowly, you use your creativity to how to create the exercise. But of course, you can't go to that from the very beginning. You know, firstly, you need to spend years of conditioning your body. And then when your body is ready, then you can, how to say, you know, like insert that into your body. And then it just...
Yeah,
goes.
and the problem is, like, we don't want to spend that time. We don't want to do the homework.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the biggest problem.
Yep,
Like, people, again, when I was going to gymnastics, I used to do pole acrobatics. So I would practice human flag for, you know, hours and hours and doing all the conditioning workout, everything what I needed to do human flag. And people comes out and we're like, oh, you're so talented. You're so gifted. It's like, dude, if you would know how many hours I was like working with the resistant bands, with the weights, with all of this stuff to make to get my shoulders strong enough, that I did all these other things, you know. But instead, I don't know if I want to use the cherry picking thing, the expression, but like they just see that one thing and this is what it is and this is how you get it. It's the human mentality. We just don't want to, and pretty sure, like me and you, we probably do the same thing with certain things. We like see something where we don't know much, but we like focus on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. It's quite easy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's, for example, like, you know, it's like me with the guitar. I catch myself, you know, I like sometimes playing guitar, and when I hear something, oh, that's a cool, you know, I would like to learn that, and then you find a tutorial, and then it goes like 15 minutes or like half an hour, and you're like, oh, that's too much for me.
That's too much for you.
know?
Exactly.
You know,
I can so relate because I used to play guitar as well. I used to play in a band and everything. And I remember that just that sheer amount of time you need to spend, and especially if you're not very good with musical stuff and you're not, your brain doesn't pick it up so quickly. Like me and you probably in martial arts and like kicking and stuff, we like, this is how it works. We quite quick understand how it works. So yeah, listen, osteopathy, that's awesome. Probably some of the last things what I could ask, what are the biggest problems what you deal with on daily basis as an osteopath?
backs and knees and shoulders probably.
Backs, knees, and shoulders. And backs, it's mainly because of sedative work, and then you just go crazy in a gym. Knees, is it again pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Pretty much the same, because as I said, desk to gym is not healthy for our body.
Yeah.
You know,
and then the third thing was knees and
shoulders. Shoulder again, same reason.
Yeah.
Because when you sit, there's just the positioning of your shoulder changes over the time. There's some tissues shortens, another tissues become longer. You see, our body. The beautiful thing about our body that until the moment our body is going to die, it will be becoming better in what you want, in the way you're conditioning. So if you condition your body to sit for long hours, that's what your body is going to be.
Right, because we are so adaptive. Yeah. Any environment you're going to put humans in, we're going to adapt like motherfuckers. So it's crazy. And
your body, if you want it to sit, so it means, so some tissues, like even the muscle tissue, over the years it will change. It will become more fibrotic. What does it mean fibrotic? It become more like a ligament, not so much as a muscle. It means it's not going to need so much energy to maintain same position. You know, so actually your body just want to save energy. You know, so if you sit there, so a lot of your postural muscles will become more fibrotic, will become more like ligaments instead of the muscles. It means they're not going to pump so much blood through them. You know, that means they become not so flexible, not so mobile, to use less energy, you know. And then you go into the gym and you hit some kind of crazy overhead snatches or something. That's it. Your shoulders are out, you know. You know, and again, like shoulders, our neck and shoulder usually, it's a secondary, problem from your thoracic, your mid-spine, you know. And when you lose the mobility in your mid-spine, that's when everything gonna... And of course, you're losing mobility in the mid-spine when you're constantly sitting there. And again, because you were training your body to sit still in that position, you know. So you, of course, gradually your thoracic spine just gonna, get into that shape and just gonna say, okay, let's hold the shape, you know. That's it. Because
And I
of-
like how also like some people would say like, well, I'm not young anymore because when I was younger, all my joints were so much better. But the difference is when you were younger, you were active. You were doing stuff all the
Yes,
time. You know, as a
yes.
kids, like we run, we crawl, we do all those things. But if somehow when we become adults, we stop doing that all stuff. And then when we get these injuries, oh, well, because I'm just getting older. No, because you haven't used it, you idiot. Because you were basically, you don't use it, you lose it. It's just
Yes.
like with sex and a bicycle, right? Okay, that's ending of this segment, and we'll be back in a second. Well, as I do this with all my guests, I ask them about 3 favorite books, 3 favorite films, and 3 favorite people. And we're gonna start with books.
Okay.
It was quite tough to figure. Yeah, like you sent me a couple of those. It's not that easy to find audio versions for all of them, but the ones I found and I thought were like amazing. So When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate.
Gabor Mate, yeah.
Where's he from?
He's I think from Chile, but he's Jewish origin, but his parents moved to Chile when he was baby. He talks about it in one of his TED speech talks.
TED Talks, yeah.
TED Talks. I think he was born in Austria, but then his parents moved to Chile because.
Okay, let's. This podcast not about mate.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
It's
just
like went straight away into like, well, when he was 5 years old.
sorry, I'm just
That's all right.
too much.
And I
into
think
details.
out of all the books what you suggested me, I mean, like this one was the because with audio versions, I think some listeners can relate to this. Like some narrators are not the best ones, and it's quite boring and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But this one was really amazing and really can suggest for someone who doesn't have time to read it, audio version is perfect. So When the Body Says No, and this book made so much sense, and it really dives into how any diseases we have, any health issues we have, probably except like breaking bones and stuff, which is like a physical thing, right, to fall and whatever. But I'm pretty sure that to recover it faster, it's going to make huge difference if mentally we are in a good place,
Yes.
right? And then the craziest thing what I really liked it, they talked about all these traumas which come from not just from your childhood, but from your parents' childhood,
Yep.
and from their parents' childhood,
Yep.
and how it just goes from generation to generation, like as this kind of a it's like when you get how to say that when you get a property or like a house from generation to generation, how do we call it?
I don't know. I know what you mean.
We have 2 foreigners here, by the way. Yeah, so there's one Latvian, one Lithuanian, and English is for us 3rd language.
Yes.
We both speak Russian and Lithuanian.
English is the
third language.
Yeah, yeah.
Heritage. It's
Yes.
like we inherit these traumas
Yep.
and go through that, and how many people have all sorts of issues. And like this guy was talking about how some of them actually have a very similar diagnosis. Like if someone is suffering from certain type of disease or whatever, they're like, oh, so as a child you suffered from abuse. And it's just incredible. Really good book.
So yeah, these books. So actually, I would probably put 3 books. I send you just the one, but there's probably 3 books that helped me a lot to create that picture and understanding that mindset of how body and mind connects. So this one is Gabor Mate, When the Body Says No. Another book is by Peter Levine, Waking the Tiger, Healing the Trauma. And the 3rd book, what's the name? Zapolsky, I don't remember, but the very funny name is called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
Oh, nice.
But the last book, the Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, is a bit scientific. So if you don't have a medical scientific background, it might be difficult to read.
Yeah.
Because in that book, what he does, he speaks about every different human body system, like your digestion, your neural system, your reproduction system, and how that system is being affected by stress.
Right.
You know? And he explains in scientific things, and he says in that book, actually, the idea is like, look, we say that we're stressful, yeah, we stress every day, but look at the wild animals like zebras, they constantly they're being attacked by predators,
Yeah.
why they don't have ulcers, why they don't have those stress problems, you know. And we people, we always have those stress problems, you know. So actually, because their body knows how to switch on and off, you know, and our body doesn't. And why? You know, and actually all these books, they have that underlying note of stress and as well the trauma, you know, that you mentioned. So for me it was because coming back to martial arts, my master was always saying, your mind is the thing that controls your body, you know, so not vice versa. And these books, they explain scientifically how it happens. So for me it was like, wow, you know, that every disease in your body is created, more or less is created by your mind. Especially when we're talking about autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases when your body is attacking itself. So it's like rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, psoriasis, and all the psoriasis-related problems.
There was mention in this book about like your body eats your own flesh, something like that. So so you have some kind of thing on the skin or something.
So it's psoriasis. Yeah.
Psoriasis.
Yeah. So actually, what it does, your body kills the body tissue because it thinks, because it thinks that it's intruder. You know. So same with rheumatoid arthritis. So actually, RA, to make it shorter. So actually, what happens, your body eats some tissue, like in your joint. It eats your joints because it thinks that your joint is something wrong. You know, and that's why you have IBS, irritable bowel disease, and you know other problems.
Oh yeah, they were talking a lot about IBS.
Yes, yeah.
And it's mainly like coming from abuse and like being like abused by husband and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you see, so these books for me. And me as a therapist, you know, I work with people, and when I read this book, you know, after that I start creating like my, database of people. And even now, straight away, I'm not saying how cool I am, but sometimes...
Oh, you're so cool, Adomas.
I can pick up, just by talking with the person, and sometimes you just touch the person, like when as a therapist... You know, and you feel it's something wrong with that body.
Yeah,
you know?
It is a dog.
You know, that boy, you know, and I had those situations when I do screening, you know, for the tissues, you know, restrictions, like osteopathic screening, and you feel there's more than that. You know, you feel there's more.
We're going to do a challenge when we're back on a set now, because we're working with like 60 other stunt guys.
Okay.
So they're not going to tell you what issues they have, but you're just going to do the screening and you're going to tell whether you can say what issues they have.
Yeah, we can go for it.
Sick. We're going to put bets on it.
Okay.
It's like, 20 pounds if he says it this or that.
Yeah. So, you know, and I had some situations when, you know, I do like screening, you know, and tests, and then I say, listen, that's what I feel in your body.
What do you usually need to do? Like, explain me exactly. Like, so if you never seen me before, I don't tell you what pain I have and where I have. So what are the areas you would actually touch?
I have my routine that I do.
Okay.
You know, so I start from the feet and ankle. Then I do a bit of, it's called like harmonic technique. So I use a bit of like wobbling the body. I rock the body, I move, I shake the body, and I see how the body responds to the movement. So the idea is that actually, like from the point of physics, everything is wave, or everything is a particle. You know, that's the quantum physics. But
wait, I have some for it. No. Okay, say it again.
Everything is wave, or everything is a particle.
Something like that.
Yeah, and so how your body responds to that movement, you know? Does your body accept that movement or doesn't accept? What I really liked about the osteopathy, and what was something and there's one principle that I was introduced when I was studying, and I would say I knew that principle before, but I was just saw that in the treatment. So going towards the tension or moving away from the tension. So for me, it was so much like yin yang, you know?
Yeah.
Like
yin and yang.
Yin and yang, yeah.
Did you say yin and yang?
I don't know how. Do you say in yan or you say in yang?
In and yang.
In
In
and
and yang.
Okay.
I don't know.
So yeah.
Two
so,
foreigners again try to say.
Yeah. So for me, it was so because when you screen the body, I look. Does your body when I press, when I apply pressure, stretch, anything, does your body like it, or does your body doesn't like?
Yeah.
Or is your body and actually, it takes time to feel, and it really. Every day I'll be feeling it different depending on me, how good I sleep, how good I eat, do I train or I don't. That's why for me it's like a certain like a discipline to keep myself, because to keep me as a tool ready for the treatment.
Yeah. You sharpen the saw. You always. Yeah, one of my favorite books is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and they talk about how you need to have these 4 pillars of balance, and then one is your health. One is your so physical health, then is your mind, then is your soul, and then what was the last one? I forgot. But then each of those you need to work on all the time. You have to have a balance between them. So and then also in maintaining a good capability, you always need to sharpen it. And so that's why they say like read books all the time. Like not all the time, but have that time
regular.
when you maintaining and improving it. So yeah.
So, so when I start from the ankles, I do a bit of rocking movement in the body. I see how I check how body responds, and does your body likes it or doesn't like it, And when you even just from the simple touch, just by putting a hand on your ankle, on your knee, on your muscle, on your thigh, I can feel, does your body accept that or doesn't accept that?
We're going to do this right after this podcast. I'm so excited that he's going to touch me. Check my knee.
And then you start moving and you see what movement does your body like and so does your body goes to the tension or away from the tension? Does your body follows my movement or resist to my movement? Does your body likes my touch or doesn't like my touch? And then I go a lot. I like working a lot with the psoas muscle. If you're familiar with the psoas muscle.
No.
I just mentioned this muscle because I'm not going to go deep, but it's very important muscle related to our hip flexion movement, lower back, and at the same time, it's very highly responsible for our mental health.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's
psoas muscle.
PSOAS.
PS like psoas.
Psoas, yeah.
Psoas muscle. Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
And where is it? Can you show one of
the body? So it attaches to all 5 vertebrae of your lower back, and it goes very deep through your guts, and it attaches to your hips. But actually, the only place where you can palpate is like touch and feel it is where your hips are. This this bone here.
Yeah.
So just there. Yeah. So you need, depending on how much fat the person has.
How much gut?
So you can either palpate when the person is laying on the back, or you need to put the person on the side.
I'll show it on the video here later. That's cool. Listen, we're going away from the book.
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay.
That's osteopathy, and how you do the do the screening, and just go. So you check the entire body. It's not like you're gonna go all. Yeah. So it goes all through.
Yeah.
So going back to the book, When the Body Says No. And I have this one thought in my head which I really like. Like I remember that my dad passed away. So when he was 63, and he was a heavy alcoholic and smoker and everything. And one of his best friends was this guy who never drank, never smoked, was always like healthy, working out, doing all his stuff. And I said to my dad, like, why can't you be like him? Like look, he's probably going to outlive you and live longer than you. And my dad always said, like, well, I'd rather die, like, all fucked up than, like, all healthy. Like, what's the point with that? And the funny thing was my dad died, and his friend died 2 years later. Literally from heart attack. And the guy never smoked, never drank, none of that. So, and we had a lot of those examples that someone who was very healthy, blah, blah. But then I was just looking through his life. Like, he also divorced with his wife. You could just imagine the amount of stress he was going through and how people just succumb to all of these other things. And that's what I keep saying to us, that we need that balance and we need to be as happy as we can.
Yep.
If and that is just my philosophy. So I smoke rollies once in a while, like a little like tobacco roll ups. I smoke maybe weed sometimes. I'm gonna have a drink sometimes. But if I feel like from my mind and for my like kind of relaxation that helps, and this is kind of me and it keeps me in balance, I think there's no problem with that, as long as you don't overdo it.
Yep.
Like in that perspective. So what I'm trying to say is that like you just need to, one of the main priorities is to maintain that happiness and being aware with your environment as like your environment where you want to be.
Yep.
And not to be like, oh, I hate my life and all that shit.
So everything we do, like literally. So that's why I like, and that book as well, actually, as I don't know, but I think that Gabor Mate is Buddhist as well, because from the way he talks and the way he uses, there's a lot of Buddhist, like how to say, ideas in there as well, what he talks about.
We need to check, maybe he's a pagan, maybe someone who jumps
maybe,
around.
I don't know, but but a lot what he, and so we all are traumatized people. We all traumatized. I haven't met yet a person that have not been traumatized by the life, emotionally and, and actually what we do, everything we do is just the way how we're dealing with those traumas, how we want to be happy. That's what the Buddhism said, that every person, what we're doing, we just want to be happy, and what we do is actually so all the addictions, everything is the way we're learning how to deal with those traumas, cope with those traumas, and be happy, So in this, and again, yes, some people, we take it, okay, we accept it, but some people, they don't accept it.
Right.
And that's where the conflict happens.
It's how you deal with those issues, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's where the conflict happens, imagine like you, let's say, if you would do everything that, you have like what you just mentioned, you have a fag, sometimes you have a drink, and you think it's okay because I feel relaxed and I join and that's fine. But imagine that if you would, if you think that is wrong what you're doing, but you still would be doing that, how much stress your body would create.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it's okay, it's the way how your body is coping with the stress, with tiredness, with overload, and next day you wake up, you think, okay, I feel a bit better, so I can keep going.
I think relationships is a very good example of it. Like how I remember when I broke up with my first ex, and how I thought I was suffering. It took me forever to get over it. For 2-3 years, I was just like, oh, poor me, she left me, or like it didn't work out, but I loved her so much. Now I'm 38 now. Listen, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just move on. Yeah. There's no point to try to analyze who was wrong, who was right, and like and people do suicides and do all sorts of shit because like someone left them and dumped them. Listen, if it just didn't work, just move on. That's it. And if we would do that with anything in our lives, like, and sometimes we just focus on a certain problem, which is actually in the end is not a big of problem, but we put so much tension and intention in that. Oh, he said this to me and I can't get over it for next 2-3 days. So we need to learn how to let it go. And another book, really good one, I think, is the How to Sweat, Don't Sweat Little Things. And then the other one, well, I had 5 or 6 guests mention that as their favorite book is a subtle art of not giving a fuck. When you just like, it's just not worth it, your energy. When someone says like, it's I don't have time for this. And then you just move on. I think we need to have more of that. And my grandpa, or the only grandpa who lived the longest, was the one who did not give a fuck. I'm not kidding you. He was smoking, drinking, he did all of it. But the guy was just like, I remember he would come home drunk, and his wife, my grandma, would be like, "Where have you been?" Like, "Where?" And he's like, "Wherever I've been, I'm not anymore." So just like that. That's a shout out to my grandpa. Hey.
Thank you, Grandpa.
He lived the longest out of all of my grandparents.
Yeah. So it's, but it is, so I again, because those 3 books for me, they blended so much, the ones I mentioned before. I don't remember which one talks about, but there's, I think Gabor Mate, he mentions that as well, so we have like 3 levels of brain, like the brain development. We have that reptile brain.
I think I have only one.
No, we... So
If it is at least 0.5.
let's see. Reptile brain is the part of brain that is responsible for all the for body to survive.
Okay.
For body to function. And second one is the limbic system. It's like it's how to say, the brain that is more like emotional brain.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is the brain that is how to say how is it called? It's conceptual. So actually, it's oh, come on, I forgot the name.
That's
Sorry.
right. That's right. So the first one was like the one for our survival. It's like almost sounds a little bit similar to Maslow's pyramid.
The pyramid. Yes.
Yeah. So we started the humans. We need to figure out how to just survive.
Yeah.
And then the next level, I don't know, but the last one was when we become philanthropists, where we think about bigger causes, when we think about charities and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's almost like sounds very similar to the brain.
Yeah. So
thing.
the idea. So look, actually, our brain is constantly telling to our body, not to our body, to us, what our body needs. That how to see it? Our reptile brain is constantly sending signals. Look, you need to go to toilet, you need to drink, you need to this, you need to that. And it goes even deeper, you need to relax, you need to sleep more, you need to. But over the years we are constantly we have those infiltrated ideas in our brain that this is not good to do, or you should be doing this way, you should be doing, or like society ideas, what is good in this society but not in that society, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And these ideas, they can get so strong that they will suppress the signals that comes from your reptile brain.
Here they say instead of reptile brain, it's kind of hind brain. So the brain can be divided into 3 basic units: the forebrain, the midbrain. It's just the units. The hindbrain includes the upper part of the spinal cord, the brain stem, and the
pons.
Wrinkled ball of tissue called the
cerebellum.
Cerebellum.
Yep.
And the hindbrain controls the body's vital functions. So the hindbrain, that's supposed to be the reptile brain.
Yeah.
So it's just,
yeah, but it's a reptile. It's like, because they say that like reptile brain is all that not the mammals, but all like the beings they have. Even the reptiles have. The limbic brain is the one that only primates have. So they have emotions and all. Like, actually, I might be a bit wrong with this.
Yeah.
So those guys go more into the science. Sorry, but
that's right.
Yeah, but and then we have that rational brain. That's the
third one.
That's the third one. The rational brain. You know, and very often we train our rational brain so much that it can get stronger than the brain that that sends the signal about our body. And sometimes your body will say, "Oh, I just want to relax," or "I need something," and your rational brain will be, "No, you can't do this. It's not right to do. You can't do this." And the Gabor Mate in his book, he gives a lot of examples of people who like suppresses their happiness, or like they not allow themselves to be happy. They not allow themselves to experience something because their rational brain is saying, "No, you can't do this. You not deserve that." And you constantly have that idea in your head because of trauma that happened in your life, and how you think, "Oh, that trauma happened to me because I'm this," and you start believing that you are this,
So is the rational brain then responsible for our kind of value system?
Yes.
It's like it says, well, your mom and dad were this and that, so most likely that you're probably not going to amount to anything, and you're just going to be a farmer, or you're going to be that.
Yep, for example.
And because all those people said to you that you're a loser, then the doubts, and so that's the irrational brain.
That's the rational
responsible
brain.
for it. Yep. But it should be irrational brain, because it's opposite to what we want to be, or what we're supposed to be.
So let's say the rational brain is the brain that creates your reality.
Okay. Well, again, that's like the belief system, like the what we have, the values and
your reality. And how do you rationalize what you are doing?
Right.
Or what you're not doing.
Right. Is rational brain also responsible for someone being a racist, or someone being a...
I would say yes. I can't be, I can't be so specific, but I would say yes.
Someone like
beliefs,
the stereotypes. Yeah. So where do the stereotypes come from? Because the rational brain had a certain experience with a certain type of people, and then when they come in your observation, like that can be changed, but you have to train for it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why like traveling is really helpful.
Yeah.
Meeting all sorts of people and understanding that there's different options for it. Yeah.
And again, you see, the rational brain is being formed the strongest in the first 7 years.
If you all that experience.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have traumas, emotional traumas, or any like childhood traumas, in those 7 years, that's it. It's deep.
That's the thing with like water. If you drown as a child in the water, it's gonna be very difficult to get to.
If you've been abused.
If you've been abused.
If you've been left neglected
by your parents,
things.
And then you have all these daddy issues, mommy issues, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's and all as Gabor Mate, and he talks a lot about, and he has a lot of podcasts and talks. So if people would like to know more about it, I would say he's one of the best actually.
Yeah, people. Okay, check out Gabor Mate. That's books. We talked about books 25 minutes now. Let's do movies and then the films. So from movies, which you mentioned a couple of them, but Matrix. I mean,
it's classics.
It's classic. It's classic. What is your favorite scene from Matrix? And we're talking about the first one. I'm not talking about all the other because there's so many crappy ones.
Probably, my favorite scene, I don't know why, but it really strikes in my head, is that deja vu moment.
Deja vu moment. Oh, yeah. That's
with the cat.
The cat. Oh, snap. Yeah, that one I didn't understand when the first time I watched. And I think a lot of people who've seen Matrix for the first time didn't understand a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think, what was my favorite? I don't really know. I really like the grossy, slimy stuff when he got out and all these things start snapping out of this head. Yeah. That was pretty cool. But when that insect they had going up to his belly button, that was a weird one.
Which one?
So it was like a tracking device.
Yeah.
And his mouth got so like he couldn't. That was pretty cool. But I think one of the coolest scenes was then when what was the lady's name? Trinity when she did that.
That's like as well. It's epic. It was epic.
And so many other films afterwards were like reusing that stuff.
Yeah.
But then I think more worth to talk about is the 13th Warrior. I don't hear people a lot saying that was one of the films they liked. It was with Antonio Banderas, right?
Did you watch it?
No, I've seen it before and I really enjoyed it. Long time ago. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. So he joined these Vikings and he was the only one who didn't speak the language. And he literally learned the language in like...
just by listening and following this, A
couple of days was just total bullshit. But just all of a sudden start speaking fluently. But it was a lot of cool stuff with the swords. And I really like how they... showed that they thought that they are fighting like animals, that they're fighting some kind of crazy creatures, but actually they were fighting just people with
how that fear was created.
Yeah. And then because they never would see them dead, because they always took the dead bodies away.
Yeah, to create that illusion that they don't die. Yeah. So I don't know, but that movie is just, I watched it probably like 7 or 8 times.
I think it's the same thing, similar.
It was so inspiring for me. And it had so many ideas that for me was so strong. The idea of brotherhood, of those Vikings being together and supporting each other.
But that's when you started growing your hair out, did you?
No, a few years later, but one of the ideas I remember, what really touched me is like, why such a strong man? Why they need to die? Why those heroes they need to die? And why, for example, Antonio Banderas doesn't die? Of course, because he's the main. But another idea I really like those at the end of the movie when the main guy he dies and he says, "Listen, you need to survive, you need to live, just because you know how to write, and I want you to write what happened." So
the legacy,
the legacy, yes. So sometimes you need to survive just because the death of those people will not be pointless.
No, I understand. Like I just struggle with the whole concept of the legacy, because so many people would say like it's important for them. What is the legacy they leave behind them? And I kind of get in contradictory. Like obviously, I do care about legacy in a certain sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this podcast. Like that's would be my legacy. But in the same time, there's certain like other very selfish reasons, which I told you before, just to kind of like, I'm educating myself, I'm having a very good time here, and if that can help someone now and today or tomorrow, it's great. But it is kind of legacy. So yeah, because and you know, for years now, this is going to be out there. But I don't know why, like, I just thought of this idea when someone's like, oh, it's important for me that there's a statue of me after I die and stuff. Like, why would you care about that? It's like, it's a very, very natural feeling, but I kind of contradict myself there.
For me, legacy is not so much about the material thing, but it's about maintaining, or like, how to say, passing through, you know, because like I can be a bridge, or I can be like a connector between that old generation and the new generation, you know. So for example, if I take the knowledge, for say, about the martial art Nhat-Nam that I had, you know, over the years, I'm collecting that knowledge, and all my parents, teachers, you know, they were just doing that, let's say, without any, you know, like, with compassion and love, you know, they were just passing, you know, to me. And if I will take it with me and just going to die, it means all the effort was pointless.
Yeah, because one of the main things, what I think is the most important for us on this life, is to gather as many as possible experiences. Because the only thing we can take with us in our grave is the experience, you know. And then, but in the same time, the legacy kind of waves in there, because like, do we care about things after we die? Do we still care? Sometimes I think no, but sometimes I feel yes. Like, I'm in between. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, I'm all about just having these experiences, having a good time, and if I can help someone, yeah, it is amazing feeling when you talk to someone and they are inspired by you, or it's pretty cool. Wow. Okay, there's a deep end. We don't want to get in that rabbit hole. Then the other book, Atlas something.
Oh, the movie.
The movie. Sorry.
Clouds Atlas.
I haven't seen it.
No way.
I've seen the one part when there was like these Asian girls were like the servants in this.
Oh, in this futuristic.
Futuristic. I remember, and it was creepy as fuck. But I haven't seen the whole film.
So for me, I really like this film because it sort of shows like a concept of reincarnation.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's like about 7 or 10 main characters.
They just they're the same, but they're different.
And those characters, the movie shows how their life interact in different timelines. You know, so we have past, like few timelines in this life or close to this life, you know, and some future. How those people overlap, you know. So it's beautiful. For me, it's like pretty much how how karma and reincarnation works. You know, so it's a beautiful story.
Very Buddhisty.
Very Buddhisty, yeah, very, and really like, you see, when you think about it, but when you see it on the screen, it really gives you that nice imprint of like, it's beautiful. So for me, Clouds Atlas is one was, and I didn't read the book. There's a book. I didn't read the book.
I was actually tempted, but it was like too late. I didn't have time. To get this done.
And many people who read the book, they say it's much better than the film.
There's audio version of it as well. It's 15 hours.
Okay.
Audio. Well, I really like that Tom Hanks wasn't the nice guy anymore there.
Sorry?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, he did a lot of nasty things over there. He did a lot,
because he's always the nice guy.
So it's beautiful film, and I like how that's just the idea of overlapping and how we interdepend from each other.
Because it would be interesting, like how me and you would be 300 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so what would we do? Like, we would be like Vikings. Would we be fighters? We would be actually runners. Like, what would you do? I would be probably gatherer. I'd just gather berries.
I don't know. You see, like they say in the Buddhism, it's like your life is what you like is a picture of what you did in your past. Your present is so it's like reflection of your past. You know, and if you don't change nothing now, it will be reflection, you know, that will become your future. So if you want to change your future, you need to do it now.
Okay.
So actually your present life is the reflection of your past, and your future is, you know, will be reflection of your present. So
now knowing your present life,
Yeah.
can you tell me what you were in the past?
Like you can guess, but so they say, like, if you, all your like temptations and habits, actually they've been built not in this life, but it was in the previous lives. So even the traumas, if you had any traumas in your childhood, so it's probably is from the, not probably, but it is, how to say, it's your karmic repay.
Oh wow.
So if you have trauma that created certain problem in your life, it is because what you did in your previous life.
How is your family with all the Buddhist stuff? Like, is your wife, she's
Buddhist as well. She's Buddhist as well.
Is it because of you, or she already practiced it before?
She lived in China for some time. She was around the Buddhists, but when we came to when we married, when we start dating, she get more into it.
Right. And how is it reflects now to your kids?
We're trying, like, I'm not pressing, but I'm just trying to bring them into this community.
Yeah.
And if they like it, they will take it. If they doesn't
give them freedom.
Give them freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea is, if they will find it attractive, there's no way they're gonna run away from it. If they find that peace,
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. So
you basically just say, like, if you're not gonna go with me to the Buddhist temple, you're not gonna get any food.
No pressure.
Hey, okay, and then we have people, mentors, and none of those are like famous people. I didn't try to look them up, to be honest. Like,
so 3 people I mentioned is my mentor, my martial art teacher, Piotr Golovach. So as I said, I know him since I'm 7 years old, and he's my second father.
Awesome.
He just, most of the ideas of how to live, and it's from him.
Does he has a family? Does he have kids?
He does. He has a wife and 2 daughters, and second person is my Buddhist teacher. Yes, it's
oh my God. I will try to pronounce his name. Lama Namcha Gyatso Rinpoche.
Yeah, Namcha Gyatso.
Gyatso
Rinpoche. Yeah.
And he's from?
He's from Tibet. He's Tibetan.
From Tibet.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's a full name.
And so I know him since I'm 8 years old. And he's as well. He's like source of peace in my mind. And the third person is Torsunov.
Oleg Gennady Torsunov.
Yes.
That's how you pronounce it in Russian.
Yeah.
Just so you know, guys.
Oleg Gennady Torsunov. Yeah. So he's Vedas. Have you ever heard about
Vedas? Yes, I heard a lot about my Vedas. Actually, my sister and her husband got crazy about that stuff a while ago.
So actually, Torsunov, Vedas are sort of like they're close to Buddhism, but at the same time they're not very close to Buddhism.
And it's also very yogi thing as well.
Yeah, yogi thing. So for many years, I really been inspired by Torsunov and his lectures and his ideas about how to live and how to live in harmony. So that's why I mentioned this person, because I know since probably I'm like 12, I was listening a lot of his lectures, a lot of his books and YouTube videos about, about diet, because Vedas they talk about everything in life, diet, how you build your house,
I remember my sister was telling this,
how you sleep, everything, how you make children, how you
there's specific positions to consummate.
I don't remember about positions, but the rituals, how you should go, they talk about everything.
I have a funny story. When I was in Bali, I remember I got this message from my brothers-in-law, from my sister's husband, saying something about, there's this guy gonna come over to Bali, blah blah blah. You guys should meet up, whatever. And I kind of totally forgot about that message. And I'm here in this part. It was my farewell party. I was about to go back to UK. And this guy comes over and he's like, "Oh yeah, so by the way, we have friends in common, your sister." And I was like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I actually used to be a Vedas teacher to your sister and her husband." I was like, "Wait, there was a time when my sister was just totally crazy about this and did the yoga and everything. You were the teacher, and now you're here smoking and drinking in front of me and partying and having a good time." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm done with this shit. I just want to start enjoying my life." And he's literally said that I just got annoyed even just because everyone were treating me like I'm some kind of guru and stuff like that. But anyways, that was interesting story.
Oh,
regarding
interesting.
Vedas.
That's really interesting.
Someone who just like, fuck this. And I think he was going through something in his life because his wife passed away. I think she passed away from cancer. And I don't know what changes he was going through, but it was quite crazy. Okay, that's us people and books and films and people. Listen, we are pretty close to wrap it up. Before we finish this, what would be your message to a very young Adomas? Someone who is like, I don't know, maybe 10 years old. In your case, it's different because you were like, from 8 years, you were Buddhist. So like, I don't know, you were not that lost. But maybe not to a young Adomas, maybe to young someone out there, and you work with kids all the time, and which is amazing. Any like, I call them the bombs of wisdom. What kind of bomb of wisdom you can tell to those kids, to youngsters? I think I don't have those bombs, just be consistent and don't hesitate too much. Well, that's the bomb right there. Because myself, I was a really big hesitator, that I was hesitating of everything. Just don't hesitate, and that was really helping me with my hesitations. One of my mentor's word. I remember he hit me with that phrase very strong and helped me a lot. It's more like a Taoist teaching, Taoism. Yeah, I heard of it. Don't know much about it. So Tao is like it can be used in many different ways, but like Tao, it can be used like a mastership, like something like a craftsmanship or like a harmony. But I remember when I was moaning about something, oh, I can't do this, oh, I can't do that, I don't know. And he looked at me and he said, listen, when the Tao comes, you take it and you learn it. Mm-hmm. When the Tao goes, you let it go. Okay. And for me, it was like, boom. So whatever goes into your life, you just take it and you learn about it. When it goes, it goes. So for me, it was like, boom, I was like, wow. And sometimes even now I'm thinking, oh, damn, I'm 32. I still could do so much about my life, about my physical. I want to improve this, but I'm father of 2. I don't have enough time for myself, and for my life. I want to be a good father, So it's like a constant conflict, because you want to do something for yourself, but you need to take care and you need to show love and care for my wife and my children. And you're like, so what should I do? And then I'm thinking, so what's my Tao now? What's my Tao now? What I'm really practicing now, what I'm learning. And I realized that actually my Tao now is more family, But at the same time, it's quite complex because it's family and I have all that background. So how can I maintain the family without losing all that background, from my past? And I think, so that's my Tao. So I want to learn about it because after 10 years, my girls will grow up. They're not gonna need me anymore. So my life circumstances will change. They will still need you, but in a different way. But in different way, probably less intense as it's now. So am I not gonna? So let's live life the way that I won't hesitate. I won't regret about it later. So just explore. So what can I learn from this situation now? How can I, how can I enrich myself from this situation now? So just learn this Tao, just, be in the situation and learn, how can I learn love, compassion, caring, but at the same time without losing my core, So I like when you said the core of, there's another rabbit hole we can get into, but one of the latest books, something about superior man, that book I read, and it's huge in Bali now, everyone talks about it. So it's all about not losing your core. And it's like everything makes more sense, and like the female are attracted more to you when you know what is your core and what is your like kind of a mission, and you are clear with that. That's a big one. Listen, I think we did amazing, probably 2.5 hours here. Thanks very much again for being here, buddy. We're gonna be seeing each other on a set in a couple of days, and again, awesome. Cheers, bud. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blah, blah, blah. Renars Podcast.